What up? It's your boy Dave B. You watching DaveBeyondTV, where we go beyond that everyday bullshit that people be consuming on a day-to-day basis. And we're gonna break down some transits right now. So let's hop right in. So the moon is currently in Capricorn, and the sun is currently in Aquarius. And to be exact, it's 27 degrees Aquarius currently. So that means that we're about to enter a cuspy phase when it comes to how we express ourselves, and that cusp is going to be in between the energy of Aquarius, which is being firm, unique, a bit rebellious, trying to willing to communicate and willing to associate itself with others who are like-minded, and also associate with others who are not like-minded. However, it's really comes down to association. We've been working on our network, trying to associate ourselves better in general. And the cool thing about this energy, well, I won't say cool thing, but what's been kind of the highlight of this energy is to, hold on, let me wipe my camera off a little bit. Should have did that before. All right, that's a little better. But part of this energy is about, so we've been dealing with this heavy Saturnian energy. The sun has been sharing space with Saturn, which is also in Aquarius. So there's been this impending pressure to get it together. We kind of went through that phase already during the Capricorn season. But for the most part, it's been about, still the energy of getting it together, because Saturn deals with restrictions. It deals with reality, how we make sense of the world around us, and how we go about utilizing our resources. And that's really highlighted in Capricorn, where Capricorn is the internal side, the dark side of Saturn, where things are more about practicalizing. To practicalize something, to make sense out of something, that's a very internal process. To express that outwardly is the day side of Saturn, which is Aquarius. And this is where we start talking about Capricorn being the blueprint, and then Aquarius being the execution, or the association, the gathering, the uniting and movement of what was built upon, as far as what makes sense and what's the game plan. So in our own lives, we took Capricorn season should have been the energy of you gathering your resources and starting to etch out, really exemplifying more discipline and deciding what you need in your life, what you might need to restrict yourself on, setting clear goals as far as how you want to go about putting together this masterpiece you're working on. And the masterpiece is your life. You should always look at your life as a masterpiece. You are the artist, and life is like the canvas. So you are, essentially, when we say you're the creator of your reality, this is kind of what we mean. You have to take life into your own hands. You have to decide how you want to, go about it. Not to say that it's going to be all easy, because it's not. You know what I'm saying? The first thing you're going to get hit with is resistance, and these things play out as forms of what we like to call as, oh, the universe is testing me, or I'm being attacked. And it's like, a lot of times we have to watch our concepts of how we go about these things, because anything you're experiencing on some level, you created for yourself. So a lot of things that you struggle with, that seem like they're coming from outside sources or individuals, we always have to check ourselves and do the shadow work to say, hey, what did I do to set this in motion? Even if it seems like somebody else came into your life and created havoc, how did I allow this energy to enter and to penetrate my life, and why is it now influencing my thoughts and feelings? A lot of times that's just an indication that we need to change, whether it's remove ourselves, which is most likely the case, or let go of something that is no longer able to be used, in our current experience. Getting back to just the transits in general, let's talk about experience, right? So we got Jupiter in Aries, right? Jupiter is the planet of expansion, experience, wisdom, knowledge, things that can be achieved as far as wisdom and knowledge through experience. You have to, it's cool to take advice, but a lot of times we have to do things or go through things in order to really know the ins and outs of what that energy is. But some of us are able to catch the lessons through other people's mistakes. And see, we've been with Jupiter and Aries, it's a very personal relationship right now that we have developed with our experiences. This has been an opportunity for the sun in Aquarius, due to, again, the alignment itself makes a sextile. But that sextile, the reason why it works is because you have so where the sun is at, right? And also how we're constructing reality. So the sun and Saturn are having a meeting in Aquarius, trying to build this life plan, like trying to not only build the life plan, but go out and experience it, associate themselves with different individuals, try to get their point across, right? But making sure that it's based in reality, making sure it makes sense. There might even be certain restrictions that we have to fight through that deal with associations based upon how we were associating ourselves previously. Now, we've been going through this transformation phase with Pluto in Capricorn, and now Pluto is actually on the cusp between, I believe it's 29 degrees, if I'm not mistaken, 29 degrees in between Capricorn going into Aquarius. So through this, the experiences we've been going through this Aquarius season, right? As you've been putting energy, and hopefully you have been putting energy, expressing yourself towards your associations, and actively attempting to communicate, and I want to stay away from words like trying and attempting, because it's the sun. So at the end of the day, we have to carry these out with our actions. It might be very difficult based upon your alignments, but we all have, again, acknowledge where the planets are so you know how to ride the wave. If you skip the energy, again, it's not you're not going to get punished. You don't have to look at it like you're going to get punished, but you just missed out on opportunities to participate in the energy as it was, which helps you plant seeds. Everything is in progression. So you miss one part of it, that's like missing out on watering your seeds. And if you miss out on watering your seeds, don't be surprised when the result isn't exactly as fruitful as you had intended or hoped or envisioned. Thinking that you about to get some kind of grand result out of minimal effort is highly delusional, and you need to clear these things up before we go into this very delusional type energy, talking about going into Pisces season. But getting back to my point, so we've been in this we've been in this situation where we need to express ourselves when it comes to our associations, whether it's expressing thoughts and ideas into our community, interacting with individuals that we might not have interacted with before, acknowledging other people's individualities while also showing up as your authentic individual self. These type of things are the energies that were helping us gain stability, and you might not even see how your expressions have helped you gain stability especially until Pluto gets into Pluto is going to make its way into Aquarius, but right now it's on the cusp. So we're already we're transforming our associations based upon the status changes that we've been making. So that's kind of what I was getting at with the Pluto energy in Capricorn. Capricorn does deal with status. So when it comes to our status and how we utilize resources and even the resources available to us, we've already been kind of going through a death or a transformation with those things. And we're going to see now our associations have to be completely reorganized and reestablished based upon this new status that we've been cultivating, because that Pluto energy has also been trining Uranus. So there's actually been a great deal of power or energy, or a gift, if you will, that we've been able to utilize and tap into, that has made us more, even if the changes you've been having to make have been very difficult, there's some form of reasoning that you can kind of be like, you know what, it makes sense to change. Because you could fight the change all you want, but things have been changing in such a rapid pace as far as our stability and things in reality, that we can't quite just shove under the rug. And maybe if you've been able to get away with shoving things under the rug, you're going to feel the effects of not making those transformations as Uranus continues on, because Uranus is about midway through Taurus. And the thing about Uranus, takes about 7 years to transit a sign in Uranus. So if we look back when Uranus got into Taurus, which was what, 2019, 2020-ish, Uranus in Taurus, I believe. So from 19 to 23, right? Let's just say 4 years. I know, like 3-4-ish years. But you figure by the midpoint, right? With a lot of these energies, especially these long transit energies, it's similar to Saturn. If you think of a Saturn return, where it's like, now, similar in the sense of the earlier you get to utilizing this energy and getting comfortable with the uncomfortable side of this energy, like the quicker you were able to jump in and say, you know what, these are the changes I need to make, and these are I'm going to commit to these. And you went through the ups and downs. You allowed yourself to feel fear, but you didn't let it stop you. You was like, oh, this is different for me, this is uncomfortable for me, but you still kept your head and stayed strong on topic, right? It's like the quicker you get with it, the easier the later half of the energy becomes, because it's like anything, you dive yourself fully into something, you're gonna gain skill and develop the right thoughts and ideas and feelings quicker than somebody who plays it safe and doesn't try to expand themselves during their practice. It's kind of like the concept of practice. Like, if you don't practice how the game is going to go, when you get in the game, you're not going to actually be able to apply nothing real. You have to, the results of your practice. So it's like, that's why they say you got to practice like it's in full motion. You got to practice like it's a game. You can't practice like, oh yeah, I'm at practice, but I'm just going like, you say you play a sport and say every practice, right? Say you play basketball, right? Even if you don't play basketball, y'all know what a jump shot is, right? Let's say you at practice and you shooting the ball all weird and shit like that. Let's just say, because I know a lot of y'all, some of y'all might not have played sports, but let's just say you playing basketball and the way you do your jump shot at practice, you do it real lazy. What's gonna happen is, when you get in the game, you're gonna only emulate what you practiced. So you might look at the practice and say, oh, that ain't shit. The real shit is the game. But you're going to get in that game and you're going to emulate what you've been putting into motion. Because you got to remember, speaking of practice, right? Let's take it to a spiritual level. Anything you do with your body is a ritual and spell. And what do we know about rituals and spells? A ritual is what you do, almost like tradition. A ritual is what nurtures and brings into reality what you intended. You know what I'm saying? So if you got these intentions to hit these goals, and you got all these big plans, these ideas that you think are so important, but you aren't putting in the practice, putting in the ritual, you're not going to manifest or see any kind of results. And that's really the magic of the sixth house, because the sixth house will teach you can't get anywhere if you don't start with one thing and practice that and put that into motion, or some form of consistency. And that's the whole thing. Consistency, discipline, these are all the energies that Saturn really is all about, and it will really harp on you if you're not taking the time to put these into practice. Because if you're not practicing forms of discipline, and especially in cap season was not playing with us in terms of like taking care of your business. It's never playing with you. But now with the sun in close proximity to Saturn, it's like, again, it's literally the universe putting a situation in your hands, saying, what are you going to do with this? God, the concept, I'm talking real fast, the concept of God is always watching comes from the whole idea and notion that you know what you're doing and what you're not doing. I believe I said this in the previous video. You know what you're doing and not doing. So you're always watching yourself. And you gotta really be real with yourself and ask yourself, if you got all these damn goals, you got all these damn plans, are you putting in the actual work that it takes to manifest that shit? Because you only get what you deserve. You don't get what you want. Our wants is predicated on the sun sign, what we see. You can see a lot of shit. You can have so many visions. But if you're not putting in no practical work, what is a vision? It's like the idea of potential. So many people get high off of having potential, but don't actually fulfill that potential. And that's a little key lesson for Pisces season. Look, and this is a message also to all Pisces. When you're looking, like, especially if you're a sun sign Pisces, because it deals with your actions. And a lot of times us Pisces won't act on things until we feel like we can. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like, and sometimes there's wisdom in that, because there's some form of, again, like, it's almost like going into the imagination and kind of feeling it out, right? But we have to remind ourselves, because you might not be a Pisces, but just do this energy in general. Instead of thinking how it would be to do something, sometimes we have to just do it. We have to acknowledge the fact that we want to do something, especially us creatives. You gotta you gotta, okay, if there's something you want to do, a goal, don't prioritize the feeling of what that goal would feel like doing it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we have to just get in and do it in order to develop a feeling. We have to go through the experience, and then from that, take the thoughts and feelings that we have and do something with those. That a lot of times is a lot more useful than sitting back. Because see, what happens when you sit back and you start developing too many thoughts and feelings before you jump into something that you claim to want to do, it can exhaust you, and it can also take you into a certain experience where again, it exhausts you. It feels like you already did it. You didn't develop, especially if you're an individual with a lot of fire and water, where you can easily tire yourself out. Even air and earth, really, because you can do it mentally. With air and earth, it just happens in forms of overthinking, aka you'll tire yourself out by thinking too practically about what needs to be done. Water and fire sign, you'll feel too many things about getting it started and how it's going to feel to do it and sustain it, and what it's going to feel afterwards, and what you're trying to achieve with it, the meaning in it, you know what I'm saying? It's like so many places that energy can take you. So when it comes to any of our goals, we need to get our hands on it. Sometimes we need to put that feeling, that fantasy, that illusion, that daydream on pause, and make sure that we're actually doing things in our life. You know, if that's what you want to do, if you actually a person who wants to do things and experience life, you have to remind yourself to experience it, because there's so many times, because you know, just the way life is, a lot of times, like for instance, let's say you want to do something, right? You are an artist, you want to do a photo shoot, but let's say you at work, and you only time you really got to do the photo shoot is on the weekend. So what'll happen is you'll spend all day at work thinking about how it's gonna feel, what you're gonna think about, or overthinking about the photo shoot itself, and you might excite yourself so much that when Saturday rolls around, right, and this is how things play with you. This is how we low key sabotage ourselves, or low key get attacked, is because when the day comes around, that's the day where everything is put to make it seem like it takes a lot more effort to do it than it really does. AKA, say you wake up late, and let's say it's traffic, or you just don't feel like getting up, and so there's all kinds of different things going on. You know, your mom want to meet for dinner, you know what I'm saying, your girlfriend wants you to take her out, your boyfriend calling you or something like that, like all these different things. Like sometimes that's why it's real. Like when we talk about spiritual warfare, it gets so deep, because it's almost like you have to know how to navigate in this world, because this world will throw you through different things just to see what you're going to do. And it's not like, again, it's not the universe testing you, but God is always watching, in the sense of it don't matter what get thrown at you, you're going to have to find a way to get what you set out to do done. And sometimes we have to trick ourselves. Sometimes we have to be wise enough to know not to hold too many things in our thoughts and feelings. Because see, when you hold an idea or vision in your thoughts and feelings, or you put it out, like, because it's the same concept of like, don't tell everybody your dreams, because you tell somebody your dreams, now it exists in their head. Now they can have imaginations, thoughts and ideas and feelings towards something that was actually yours. And see, sometimes spirits can become entitled based upon you gave them an idea or perception into what you was working on. And if you aren't complete or done and structured and strong in that idea, the first thing somebody says can influence you, and all of a sudden that idea is now, that dream is out of your hands. And a lot of us get our dreams killed by our parents, even our loved ones, based upon speaking too early or too much about something that we're trying to do. I don't want to say behind the scenes, but it's behind the scenes. It's something sometimes we have to keep again, it's deep passions in the 8th house, you know what I'm saying? It's deep passions there sometimes. And dreams, 12th house, that's things in the subconscious. You still trying to iron that shit out. You know, make sure it's strong first before you start presenting it. Really, I wouldn't even present it until you already doing it, until it's already in Aries being done. There's no discussion. It's already being done, you know. But I understand, like, everything. Sometimes we do want advice. Sometimes we feel close to an individual and we want to share with them what's on our mind and what our goals are, because we want to include them. But there's a certain level of understanding that you need to have about when you're engaging in that. Because see, it's all about being intentional. Make sure it's something that you want to share. Because sometimes we share things in hopes of them giving us confirmation on what we already want to do, right? We already got in our head what we want to do, but we share things as if, oh, we want somebody to feel connected and a part of it. But, you know, you present it in a way as if you want their advice, or you present it in a way where people feel like they can give their 2 cents and add on to you. And so it's like you have to be very discerning about how you go about just sharing different information, things you're working on. And I say it's key for Pisces season because we're about to be in a time where actions are going to be a little, you know, dreamlike. And we might feel a little more passive about certain things. We might get a little more chatty about what makes us feel larger than life, or what makes us feel inspired, and what makes us feel creative, and like we can expand as far as our imagination. And we might even want to mix our water with different individuals who we might learn that, damn, I shouldn't have been mixing myself with this individual because their ideas, their values, who they are, don't really align with me, and now their waters are interacting with mine and causing some, you know, discomfort. And so when you look, like when I'm looking at these planets, Pluto going into Aquarius, that cuspy energy is like, you know, we're about to get into really transforming everything as far as our associations, even and to the extent of creating deeper connections through our associations. You know, it's a very strong energy that's indicating that community is going to be the key for the next few years. But right now we're in the very early stages, so you know everything is kind of set for us to move into a space where you're starting to again associate yourself with a tribe, or a community, a soul group, you know, individuals who are like-minded, who y'all can start building things with, who you can start collaborating with. Because you know, again, you got to even look at the job that you have and where you work. Like, these are individuals, because not everybody's on the internet inside of spiritual community. Some, like this very video might come across your page, and you just an individual who get up every day, go to work, and you might have a few friends, but you know, you might not have a tribe or a community online. So it's like, what do you do in that instance? It's like you got to look at the different things that you already involved in, like the people at your job and shit like that. You know, to break down the concept of a soul group, a tribe, is like these are individuals who are like-minded, who share similar thoughts and feelings, not the same ones, but share similar thoughts and feelings that y'all can associate, y'all can communicate, y'all can build on each other with those different things. And so not everybody at your job gonna have that same sentiment. That's why when we do talk about soul groups, a lot of times we're not really talking about the mundane folks, but for the people who do come across this video who aren't yet putting themselves in those spaces. Even if you're watching this video, it's like we all have to start to, whatever you watch and who you like to hear speak, and you know, what you're entertained by, a lot of times can, you know, show you, point you in directions of, you know, the type of individuals. But it's really a spiritual thing, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of times there's something that brings everybody together, whether it be a topic, a certain speaker, or so, you know, something that has everybody in the chat room like, oh yeah, let's all listen to this, or let's all watch this. And that's how you really start to find your tribe, your people, because these be individuals who come from vastly different backgrounds. But at the end of the day, y'all can share ideas and feelings, and it feel like you closer to them than some of your own family members. So we going into a time where, again, you're going to need to build a community outside of just those familiar faces that you see at work, because chances are at work, these aren't your real friends. These aren't people that you really share thoughts and feelings with. It's people you share responsibilities or duties and roles with. And a lot of times, man, like right now is a very nasty time if you are in a relationship that's based on that, where y'all don't have the same values, y'all don't have the same goals, y'all just sharing space. And you know what I'm saying, I made a post today. I'm gonna make a separate video talking about Venus and values versus pleasures. But you know, just in a nutshell, you more in a relationship based upon pleasures or something of the world, meaning, you know, you with this person because they got a good job, or because they look good for your status, or because they got some kind of attributes that you find attractive, or even something that you are fetishizing about. You know, again, those things always crash over time. You know what I'm saying? But hey, you know what I'm saying, to each his own. might have to go through that experience. But for the most part, getting back to yourself. I know I'll be taking tangents. So that's that Pluto energy where it's like we're dramatically going to be changing our associations. Right now, it's at the tip of the iceberg. It's at 29 degrees. So at this point, it's like at the weakened stage of the Capricorn, meaning, you know, you should have already been transforming your status. At this point, it's going to be, again, you want to make sure that what you're moving into is who you're going to be. Because we talked about the 7 energy of this year being that higher octave versus lower octave of yourself. So it's kind of like we have to, very early on, you see, like the new year ain't even start, but right now is the time we have to truly embody who we're going to present ourselves as. And when I say present ourselves as, I don't want to make it too much like it's some kind of creature you're creating, but it's kind of like that concept. You know, we have to create our with our 4th, 5th, and 6th dimensional energies. We have to create that image of who we are. You know what I'm saying? With everything that, like all those videos that talk about higher self and shit like that, you are your higher self, but you have to put yourself in that space, and you have to actively carry out those characteristics, aka do rituals and spells, things you do with your body that resemble those higher thoughts and feelings. Now, get out of the concept of high and low, but you can use those as references to understand angels and demons. Demons being anything that go against your belief in yourself or portrays your belief in yourself. You know what I'm saying? We have to maintain, we have to protect our own belief, imagination, and our faith in ourselves. You have to protect that. So whoever you choose to be, right? Because on the baseline, as a spirit, you're no thing. You have to choose in this life who you're going to be, and that will determine and set the path for your next lives to come. That's the responsibility you have here, or just as a spirit. You are the creator of your reality. This is what we mean. So it's like you have to set in motion what it is that you're going to be experiencing. And again, you're not going to be perfect. There's always going to be frustrations and things that seem like they're opposing us, but we also have to always have to come to that middle space and be able to balance it out and understand, oh, I'm experiencing these harsh scenarios based upon something that I need to see. And that pain that I feel is just my resistance towards what was once comfortable, and now I'm in the transition of establishing a new comfort. And again, it's like every time, you know, it's a lot of vibes. Like every time you get comfortable, a lot of times you're just reminded, and that's just the nature of life. That's why it feels like, oh, I'm being attacked, oh, I'm being tested. And sometimes it feel like, damn, universe, I can't get no goddamn break. And it's like, when's the last time you heard God getting a break? You know what I'm saying? On the 7th day or something like that, right? So again, I feel like when it comes down to it, that's what they say on 7th day rest or some shit like that, right? So in concept, it's like, you know, when we look at the nature of 7, I feel like, because when it comes to different things, attacking, or like the different experiences we go through, you know, there's times of contraction and expansion. You know what I'm saying? There's times where, again, things are going more in your favor than not. And all that is based upon how you handle those situations that you feel like you're being tested. It's all about how you handle and respond to situations that's a little more harsh and chaotic than what's normally expected. Like some people manifest a lot of chaos in their life, right? And those individuals have to look at themselves and say, well, what am I doing that's creating this? And at that point, if you know what I'm saying, like if you want a break, you're gonna have to put in the work and deserve a break. You're gonna have to really stop doing whatever it is that's causing that type of shit. Again, easier said than done, because it's like, you know, there's a lot of nuances and shit like that go on in our day-to-day lives that create these, you know, scenarios. So sometimes things happen and there's no immediate reason or thing that we can pinpoint to say, oh, this caused this. But on some level, we have to acknowledge that, okay, I must be moving, vibing, seeing things in a way that's causing these kind of scenarios to take place. And, you know, it kind of takes a great deal of shadow work depending on how deep you are, because sometimes we be in such deep shit based upon past lives and what we just are participating in and how we see things, that it creates a lot more of that in our own lives than others. But a lot of times we end up going through those experiences and later on in life becoming a lot more skilled and a lot more diverse and wise on different things of the world, and we can, do a lot of things that can help us out, later on in life after we go through those experiences, after we've made those changes. But not everybody, makes those changes quick. Some people take their whole life, you know what I'm saying? So this is why we out here now putting out this information, just so people can, find a way to change, find a way to see themselves and become more self-aware and change for the better and type shit. But you know, going back to these transits. So yeah, I've been talking about that Pluto energy for a while. Let's talk about the moon. So the moon in Capricorn right now, this is us reacting and responding to these responsibilities that we have, right? In combination with the sun in Aquarius, these two energies actually go hand in hand very well. You got the sun in the external form of Saturn, the moon in the internal form of Saturn. So right now is a great time to get your business associations together, to get those to build some real connections, to communicate on something that you're trying to build towards, to gather resources, but also get the minds and organize different individuals in your life, like, so you and everybody involved in whatever project or mission you got can all be on the same page. This is good energy for that, getting the message out. We just came off of that moon in Sag, which was, an opportunity for us to kind of see a new way to associate, you know what I'm saying? Something that we can now start to believe in ourselves and have a little more optimism towards our association. So hopefully you got a chance during that energy to kind of embellish some of that fire energy. And also it was trying, Chiron and stuff like that. So we might have been also learning a lot about our associations based upon experiences. And see, the moon was there next to Jupiter. So, well, not next to Jupiter. The moon was trining Jupiter. So there was a gift to expand our feelings on our own experiences. And as those two energies sextile Aquarius, through that, we're able to kind of expand our understanding of our associations as well. But getting back to this Capricorn energy, now it's getting a lot more serious tone, or you might feel a more serious vibe now, because now we got the sun next to Saturn and we got the moon actually in Capricorn, getting close to Pluto. So tomorrow and as it gets further into Pluto, we're gonna feel that comfortability with this emotional transformation that we know we need to make, that will benefit our status in some kind of way. Because see, that's the whole thing right now. Going into this Pisces energy, it's like you gotta really see for what it is. You gotta and that's kind of what I was getting at with the Pisces energy. It's like the Pisces energy can be very scattered. It can be very all over the place. So if you don't have that anchor in your life, that understanding of who you are and where you're going and why you're doing what you're doing, you can be subject to get lost. Venus is real close to Neptune right now. So everybody is kind of itching for their pleasures. So if you can't have no form of discipline, especially right now, like the lessons that we're going through right now is kind of reminding us, hey, have some discipline before we get into this Pisces season. Build up your associations and protect your status, and not protect it in a way where you become toxic, not protect it in a way where you're scared you're gonna lose it. Understand, again, those higher octaves. Understand who you are establishing yourself to be, and not getting too lost into this 3D character, this earthly character, but beyond that, on a spiritual level, like, who are you? What energies are you trying to bring here, and how are you trying to influence the world? And if it ain't, again, God's mission, what I'm saying, it's got to be something as far as trying to expand the world in some form of a positive way. But again, we live in a vast world of many different individuals, and not everybody got those type of intentions at heart. So, it is what it is. But, for the most part, because a lot of that shit starts to sound like fairy tale, like, oh, we just need positive change, But the reality is that there's many different kinds of people in this world, and not a lot of people, there's a good deal of people with bad intentions who are going to use this energy to try to be whatever, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, but for the most part, you know, um, with this energy, getting back to the moon and sun and Capricorn, you know, this is gathering our resources, building on our associations, building something real, making something real out of our associations. So right now, any plans that you have been working on, even if you're highly uncomfortable right now, it's good to get the word out. It's good to put yourself out there, because this energy is going to pass. And Pisces energy, you might lack the ability, because like I was saying about Pisces being needing that feeling of closeness and connection in order to really express its full range of creativity. When Pisces doesn't feel comfortable, or doesn't know how to feel, or doesn't feel itself, right? Instead, it feels too much of everybody else's potential feeling, and it's clocking everybody, it's too observant. Then you put yourself in energies where you don't put yourself out there, where you don't put your creativity in the mix. And see, again, as this Pluto and Aquarius energy happens, as the Saturn in Aquarius energy happens. See, Saturn in Aquarius Saturn is important to just understand in terms of how we are going to create stability in our lives, right? So if you look at Saturn still having to spend a little more time in Aquarius, moving into Pisces season, if you lose steam during Pisces season, you're gonna be susceptible for a lot of self-doubt, because that's the thing too. Pisces is going to make you pay attention to all those feelings, and also the feelings of others. So if you don't have a strong sense of self and a clear vision on your goals, you're going to let too much of the water influence your water. Now your water is dirty. With dirty water, you manifest dirty results, dirty reality, a reality that doesn't look how you need it to look, which is going to be even more discouraging. And this is how you put yourself in a cycle of, you know, how people be like, they'll think the worst, spend too much time thinking the worst, then they manifest the worst. Like, oh, I think you cheating, I think you cheating, and you manifest them cheating. And now you're like, see, I knew it. And it's like, you don't realize, again, goes back to the title, like the beginning of the video, we create this shit. So you gotta, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like it's a very sick cycle that can take place with Pisces energy, and really any energy if you're not careful, especially water though, because water transits, there's so much going on that can take your energy, that can drain your energy. You know what I'm saying? Water transits, you have to be very mindful of what you're participating in and how much of yourself you're divvying up, because it's not like air energy where you can kind of go on, and it's actually encouraged for you to get out there and express and communicate and then be here, be there, be everywhere. It's not like fire where you have a little more leeway to get your shit off. And it's like we're supposed to create some conflict. We're supposed to get in there and stir things up and express our true selves and stuff like that. We always supposed to express our true selves. It's not like Earth where, you know, we might have to do a lot of things in reality, but ultimately we can stay reserved and protected. It's water. Everything is based upon connection. So if you're not in the right connections, you might not establish the right flow. If you're not establishing the right flow, everything you participating in is going to feel extremely draining, and you might succumb to self-doubt due to that vulnerable feeling of not quite knowing where you belong, especially in Pisces, not quite knowing how you fit, how you belong, not quite knowing how to move, how to feel. All these different things will impede upon your ability to get out there and do what we need to do right now, because right now it's such a strong energy for doing shit. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, that Saturn, it needs us to participate in that energy in order to build stability for ourselves. Saturn is squaring Uranus, so we have to learn how to do this in our unique way. But you're not gonna, again, you have to build on that courage. That has to be something you put into practice. And so if you're not putting into, and again, Pisces season, I've been talking about the negative. The very positive side of Pisces is this is going to be one of the, again, a very creative time. So all these goals that you've been working on, right? And you've been trying to figure out, again, we've been cultivating so much of the reality. Now we're in Pisces where we're going to be able to let free and give a little of that spark, you know what I'm saying? That Neptunian spark that you can't get nowhere else. We're going to be able to actually put this into actions and get our dreams going, acting towards our dreams, right? Or if you're not careful, because we started talking about Venus close proximity to Neptune, what can happen right now is you can play too closely into what's pleasurable. You can get too high and too addicted to that good feeling that you sacrifice a lot of the necessary things you need to do to establish these strong connections, to establish discipline within yourself, to know how to even move and show and prove that you deserve some of these things that you're trying to manifest, that you are intending to manifest. So during this Pisces new moon, which we'll talk about separately, you know, again, it's going to be like, you know, you got to be mindful, you know what I'm saying? Got to be mindful just of that Venus energy, knowing that Venus is exalted. So right now, you know, we are a lot of like right now it's going to be so much easier for you to go with what feels good, go against what is making you uncomfortable. But all that uncomfortable shit, you know, putting yourself out there, putting yourself in these spaces, all these different things are actually what we need to make sure that our Pisces season can flow correctly. Because as the more you do there on that end, right, this Pisces energy will actually serve to be, again, like I said, a creative time, a time to get connected. So these established connections and networking that you've been doing, right, there's going to be space for you and those individuals to actually connect. And through that connection, as Saturn makes its way into Pisces, you're going to have something real. It's almost like, because it's kind of like it's kind of confusing, because Saturn being reality going into Pisces, it's like right now, it's like when Saturn does get into Pisces, you're going to need that connection to even know how to start building. You're going to need that comfortability around your people, your individual, you know, the people in your collective, your community. You're going to need that support to maintain any form of creativity. You're going to need that support to help you gain influence. You're going to need that support in order to help you and kind of seeing or feeling connected, you know, because that's the thing, understanding how they got these energies set up. See, we in the age right now of AI. We in the age of working from home and, like, you know, virtual reality, all these different things that during Saturn and Pisces can cause a lot of confusion, can put a lot of people in a it's a fucked up space, because it's you know, you put the headset on, you got this job where you could do from the comfort of your home. You got all these different things to keep you away from actually participating in your community, which is the very thing that is actually going to mean something at the end of it all. People in your community, teamwork making the dream work, because you as an individual can't get shit started. Only thing you can do as an individual is be a good employee. So, you know what I'm saying, they can nullify you nullify folks real easy during Pisces season, during Saturn and Pisces. That's what I'm really looking at, because people are going to try to build their reality, their status, their comfort on a material level off of an illusion. So you was given this headset, you think that you are, again, you think you making sense, you think you building in the world, you think you doing this whole time. All those programs they got you in, you forgot to go outside and connect with real people who share like-minded ideas. Now on the flip, right, because it's none of this shit is meant to be demonized, because all this shit could be used. On the flip side, that technology could actually further link all of us together, link you and your people. But at the same time, there needs to be something in reality too. And it's just right now, it's so easy for them to trick people and finesse them into getting too lost online. Because see, you could be controlled online. They turn that off. You know, say you got a chat room where you've been, I mean, even how folks is connected now, you know, messing with people's YouTube channels, you know, shutting it off. Like, you know, people always talk about it. If the internet were to go black tomorrow, where would you be at? Would you be good? Would you be secure? What would be around you? Who would you be around? How would you be able to contact and connect with another individual? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's too, you know, it's just another indicator that shows, like, you know, nothing real is being done until we start to come together physically and put things in stone. And then we can start using that technology to influence the world. You know what I'm saying? Kind of using it, connected in real life to create and influence outward, rather than trying to stay outward on these internets and connect just to kind of do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like nothing grows from that. because that's what we've been doing since like 2015, 2016, 2017 and beyond. We've been connected online, trying to set up these things in real life, but nothing can grow because we just, as people, it's like we need to be able to touch each other, to trust each other. We need to be able to see and have some form of consistency in reality in order for things to take motion, because just like a relationship, you know what I'm saying, how are we gonna have a long distance community? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it can make sense if you think about, you know, social media, but think about a long distance relationship. It's like, again, getting beyond the gutter, you're gonna need to touch the individual, see them in real life scenarios in order to know and trust them. You know what I'm saying? That's the only real way. You know, you can trust somebody through their consistency online, but it's like, that's where we're headed, you know what I'm saying? And that's what's going to be what's needed. And this Pisces energy is just this interesting conduit between it. But, you know, we're not there yet. We're preparing for that energy. The sun is about to get cuspy. So we're going to need to take these associations, right, and start to make sure that they're fulfilled with the right type of vibe. You know what I'm saying? We're going to need to pay attention to the vibe of these connections that we're establishing and ask ourselves, okay, is this the vibe? You know what I'm saying? Or am I in an illusion? Am I being delusional by trying to connect with these individuals? Is this really helping me? Because that Saturn energy is like, is it really going towards my structure and stability? Or is it taking me away from my responsibilities? And then also just being mindful of where you're at. Because again, that Venus and Pisces connection, are you distracting yourself from your responsibilities? Because right now, that's 9 times out of 10 more likely. And see, Venus is going to be sextile in the moon. So there's an opportunity there for you to react and respond to reality. But again, don't let that opportunity, see, it might be an opportunity for you to be able to accept where you might need some restriction, being able to accept where you might need a little more, you know, to take care of your responsibilities a little more. Also, because also it's like that moon in sextile and Neptune as well. See, it's opportunities for us to feel what needs to be done for our dreams. See, if you could snap out of that illusion, if you're able to separate yourself from too many addictions, you could actually really see into what's going to be necessary to change in order to manifest your goals. Because even Uranus is sextiling Venus and Neptune. So Uranus right now, or Uranus been looking at Neptune as opportunities where your individuality can manifest your dreams. But now Uranus sextiling Venus is also things that are unique to you that you can learn how to appreciate. And see, even through things that are calling us like addictions, the whole thing about addiction and how you cut through that shit is you got to realize that a lot of times addiction is just you trying to chase a feeling. So you need to shift that chasing a feeling to supporting a value system. So when it comes to Venus being exalted in Pisces, exalt your values. Look at your values and what you actually, you know, because your value, when you establish strong values, that's how you really establish self-esteem. When you got a strong value system about yourself, you value yourself enough to stand strong in your shit, and you don't let nothing take you off of that. That's true self-esteem. That's when you're talking about Venus in correlation with Taurus, able to stand sturdy and strong in its energy, practical, you know what I'm saying, not easily shifted and moved, fixated. That's where you use fixated energy, you know what I'm saying. But when you're stubborn on pleasure and shit like that, that's addiction. When you just chasing a high, your life becomes this big long blur, because everything you did, all your intentions, all your energy went towards chasing something to feel good for a moment. But see, that cheap pleasure, it's fleeting. You're never going to get enough of that. You know what I'm saying? It's like the analogy, you take a sip of coffee, like you drink coffee every day. Eventually, you're going to crave 2 cups. You know what I'm saying? You do something every day. You know what I'm saying? Eventually, you're going to need more of it, just because that's how those pleasures work. But when something is correlated to your values, when you value something, just doing it fulfills all those needs, and it's something that lasts long, has quality. You don't have to do it as much excessively. You could do it once and be good and be like, chill, I'm cool. But also that's the practice of moderation, because, you know, at a certain point, that's just something you got to learn with that energy too, how to moderate. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, that's the thing, you know, something that is higher in value, you know, you cherish more, you know, it lasts longer. You know, how they always say, like with nutrition, like, you know, you can get a bunch of quick snacks to get, you know, fill you up for the moment, but it lacks energy. Or you could eat some real food and you could have energy that lasts a lot longer and feel a lot better. You know what I'm saying? A McDonald's burger versus, you know, like one of them grass-fed, true, real ass burger, like from a, you know, nice restaurant and shit like that was cooked right. You know what I'm saying? Got all the dressings on it. You know what I'm saying? It's like that was a lot more fulfilling than this little $2 burger from a processed meat that was thrown in the, you know, whatever type shit. But that's the type of vibe that's going to be going on with this Pisces energy. Or not this Pisces energy. The current energy right now, right? It's just the energy we're moving into towards, because we're hitting a cuspy energy. We at 27 degrees, so we finna hit that 28. And so it's going to start to feel a little foggy. You know, you're going to start to, again, and also be mindful of the way you're going about these associations, because that little bit of Pisces energy, right, it can make you elusive, or it can make those who you're trying to associate with elusive. So make sure you're paying attention to the details of what people are saying, even though it's going to be Pisces season. So, you know, I always like with Pisces energy, I'll be like, look at the details. With Virgo energy, I'll be like, don't worry too much. You know what I'm saying? With Pisces and Virgo, you kind of got to incorporate the other end, or mutable signs in general. You kind of got to do both. Like, that's kind of how I be looking at it. Like other energies, you could be like, oh yeah, just utilize that energy and recognize the balance. With Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, and Sag, I'll be like, no, incorporate a little bit of the other one, because it all balance out. You know what I'm saying? Pisces need a little bit of worry, need a little bit of, well, Pisces already worried, but Pisces need a little bit of precision and details and scheduling. Just a little bit so you're not all over the place, unless that works for you. Some people got charts where that works for them. Vice versa, Virgo, you need to know how to chill and relax a little bit and not put so much, you know, like heavy pressure on things going perfectly or things going right, because sometimes you need a little more of that spontaneity. Sometimes you need a little bit more of that diversity, or that ability to get out of your own head in order to get something done too, or in order to, you need a little bit of that not so planned and proper energy in order to experience the full range of something. You know what I'm saying? Because you can limit your experience by being too bent on this needing to happen at this time, so you do this and this need to be done. It clogs your mind up. Now you focused on the schedule rather than the experience, and that don't always work. But again, Pisces, sometimes too much of the experience, you forgot to actually do things that was very important and essential in order for the whole thing to flow. So, you know, Gemini and Sag similar, because in the experience, you know, you need to know also how to articulate that experience and be aware and analyze what's going on in front of you. But also, don't get so pent up on what's going on in front of you. You also need to not be airheaded and be able to be a little more wiser. Don't just touch the stove because the stove is in front of you. You know what I'm saying? Use wisdom to kind of think about something further than just what you're seeing, so that you can actually have something worthwhile to communicate, and not just communicate a bunch of random stuff. Actually have some kind of meaning to what you're saying, so people can believe you, or people can actually want to converse with you further than just, you know, frivolous conversation type shit. But, you know, it's sad. It's like you know, you might not be as wise as you think. You might need to bring yourself down and have just a normal conversation, so that people can understand you, you know what I'm saying, a little bit more. You know, you might not care to be understood, but hey, sometimes sometimes other people need you present and need you there, you know, to discuss things with, you know, in the surroundings. Because sometimes the Sag should be just too flighty, and it's like, dang, you know, folks need you, you know, folks want to talk. But going back to what I was saying, yeah, we're going into that Pisces energy, which is going to just kind of take everybody to a different space, a different way of, you know, a different way of seeing reality in general. Trying to think of whatever. Oh yeah, Mercury is in Capricorn as well. No, Mercury is in Aquarius currently. So with Mercury in Aquarius as well, our minds, we're thinking and we're wanting to communicate. We're wanting to communicate these unique ideas and viewpoints, right? We have a, you know, Mercury in Aquarius is a cool placement. Mercury likes to be in Aquarius, or it doesn't mind Aquarius, because it's kind of like, in some sense, like a higher octave in Aquarius. You know what I'm saying? It's like a Gemini with a little more of a point. You know, a Gemini with a point, basically. So it's able to communicate and convey an actual idea rather than just a bunch of random ones. And so, and not to say all Geminis is too scattered, but y'all versatile. You know, it's a lot of things on your mind. So y'all got, you know, a couple different ideas. And not to say that Aquariuses don't be having a lot of ideas, because y'all do too. But when it comes to Aquarius and things of that nature, Aquarius, you guys, or just Mercury in Aquarius, right now we're all communicating as far as our associations. So we need to make sure that we're putting ideas in the pot, like I was saying, kind of with the Sun in Aquarius video, putting ideas in the pot, but really just making sure you have unique things to say. Keep your uniqueness on your mind. Whatever goal it is and stuff like that, keep that fixated on your mind and find new ways, innovative ways to communicate and convey that. Right now we're thinking in ways that are innovative, you know. So right now the conversations that's going on could be highly creative, because especially as we go further into this Pisces energy, we're going to be seeing things from our imagination. So that Pisces Mercury, this might actually help us to convey some of these more complex concepts or unique concepts in a way that other people can actually see where they can fit in, actually want to associate with. So, you know, that's something that we can utilize at the moment. But Mercury is also squaring Uranus, so we're learning our own unique way to speak. We're learning our unique way to think about certain situations that we're going through. Also learning how to think through changes. So all these different changes that are taking place that have something to do with our status, right, and who we're actually becoming in this year. All these different things, we're learning the language of that. So be patient and make sure you are, you know, leaning into your uniqueness, leaning into yourself. Mercury's also sextiling, sextiling Venus and Neptune. So we'll have the opportunity. No, not Venus and Neptune. Mercury is sextiling Jupiter and Chiron. So learning how to think about mistakes to move forward, you know, learning how to expand as well. So again, Jupiter and Mercury create that learning process, right? Going back and forth. It creates that learning process that allows for you to it's basically like a learning process that allows you to expand your ideas on certain things. So like how Mercury is being fueled by like Mercury, again, like I was saying, through our Mercury, we're learning how to speak our own unique language, right? There's an opportunity for that to be expanded upon through our experiences and wisdom. Like it's an opportunity for that to be expanded on. So our language, also us learning more about how we need to go about things or thinking about our experience, you know, opportunity to think about our experience in a better way. That's going to be part of just that sextile between Jupiter, Chiron, and Mercury and Aquarius. And a lot of what I was saying too is also an indicator of that Mercury conjunct Saturn energy, because Mercury is going to close in on Saturn eventually, and that's going to be us having the gift to, or the power to think about reality, having the power to really put some unique ideas into motion, and also to associate our ideas in a realistic way. So, you know, there's a lot of opportunity right now for us to, you know, gather our team, you know what I'm saying? And it's deeper than gathering your team. It's truly, you know, I can't just say team anymore. I have to say community. Before it might have been team, because it was more like us in smaller groups learning ourselves and engaging with different kinds of groups, maybe within the same community, but for specific goals and things of that nature, things with more of an expiration date. You know, a team is more like, oh yeah, we just doing this mission and then we're moving on to the next one. But here we're talking about community. We need long lasting things in which we can build with each other. You know, this is more Saturn based. This is us coming together to do something that's larger than just you as an individual, you know. So this is going to take a lot more patience and a lot more practice than just a, you know, a business move. You know what I'm saying? This is like us really coming together to change something, you know. Because, you know, that's the thing. See, we have to just keep that in mind. That's why I be saying, like, as far as how we get, you know, finessed a lot of times with the government, you know what I'm saying? The government put people in situations where, you know, you gotta think, you know, these are folks in power, you know, gotta think of that about a lot of different individuals, you know, things that seem like they're trying to help you, but you know, you got to understand how the world works. You know, a lot of folks are bent on maintaining power. Nobody in this world is trying to relinquish power, especially not to somebody who, you know, it's like, who are you? You know, that's how everybody kind of looking at shit. So we always have to have a one up and understand, like, hey, what you dealing with, what you up against, because, you know, yeah. So when it comes to things like these new programs or programs that might be introduced coming this year, a lot of them are going to have to do with technology and in a highly advanced way. So technology that can think for you, AI shit, or technology that can connect with other people while you in the comfort of your own house. You know what I'm saying? All kinds of different things. You know, they lining all kinds of crazy shit. I heard somebody say aliens, 7 alien UFOs hit the streets of the United States the other, like, man, they fucking with. Look, I don't know who's still on these news stories and stuff like that, but you know, it's just it's a sign. It get real nasty out here, cause you know, it get real nasty out here the way they trying to control shit, because it's just like, you know, it's crazy, you know. So we have to just remain vigilant, like I said, remain focused, and you know, but the key is gonna come through community, because we need different individuals in our lives in order to contribute different things. You know, not everybody, not one person came here with everything. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's always, even, you know, even look at it like this, biblical. You know, even Jesus had a team. He needed 12 disciples, 12 other niggas. He could be like, hey, I need you to handle this principle. I need you to handle that principle. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you gotta look at yourself and be like, look, I ain't got everything, but the only thing you got is being your best self. That's the most valuable thing that you could have, though. You know, that's worth more than gold itself. You know, more than, well, fuck gold, but you know, that's what's worthwhile. So that's just something you have to keep in mind and shit. But for the most part, I think that's the main points. I think that's all the planets for real. I know Lilith has been in Leo, so you know, we have to show up right now, because right now it's like this extreme nervousness that comes from, you know, expressing ourselves or being seen right now. So there might be problems right there that we have to address on an internal level. Just like, hey, you know, solidify that, get that together, so that you won't have to so you won't end up devaluing yourself, or you don't end up shying away from a challenge, or yeah, you know, having courage, you know, have the courage to do something new right now. But anyway, I'll catch you on the next one. Much love, peace.